Hello, Buckeyes. We are now going to do step 4. We are making progress. We are making our way through each of the steps. In step 4, we're going to do is we're going to focus on talking about setting up an Excel sheet in order to do data entry. So setting up our data entry is a very important step. You might say, well, hey, now I've got approval for step number 3. We can just get going. But what you need to do is have a way to record the results of your study materials in a way that can be analyzed. So how are you going to capture the way that participants responded in a way that we can analyze these outcomes to see if they differ between conditions? So what we'll do in the next step now is to make sure everything is lined up for data collection. And this is something that I want to make sure we do now so that we don't run into that problem later on once you've already collected the data where we might have to go back and recollect it. So it's always good to take just a little bit of a step forward, make sure that that data collection can go well and that you're ready to go before taking a step forward. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through the 2 steps that are necessary for doing this and let you know what the steps are necessary to get approval for this particular overall step of step number 4. So the first thing you need to do is you need to label the variables. So for each of your questions, you need to include variable names. And to make it simple, these variable names should be short, but it should be easy to identify what the items are that they're assessing. So we want to give short variable names so that you can go back and know exactly what that particular variable name is related to in terms of the scales that you have. I think one of the easiest ways to understand this is to simply just see an example of it. So give me just one moment. I'll switch over to my example of the sheet that you saw previously. Right? So in my study, again, I showed you the independent variable that I manipulated, the dependent variables, these items that I'm using to assess my outcomes. And so to set up data collection, what I'm going to do is separately, something you'll just send to me, Dr. Worth, I'm going to indicate what the variable name is for each of the items. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to indicate that this is basic needs 1. Now you won't put this on the actual survey that you give to participants, but this will be something that you'll give to me so that I know that this is basic needs item 1. You'll see that this is basic needs item 2, and so forth. We'll go down to the dehumanization questions that I'm asking, and you'll see that I changed the variable names there. So now it's dehuman 1, dehuman 2. Again, you can see that these are brief labels, but they give me enough information to know what scale it's from and to be able to identify which item it is so I can put these items together. And that's something I'll be doing for you guys as part of the data analysis. So that's our first step, is simply taking that document that you guys sent to me with all your manipulations and your measures, and you can indicate to me what the variable names are that you're going to use for each of those particular items. Okay, so let's switch back to our presentation here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about creating the Excel spreadsheet. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the variables at the top of the Excel spreadsheet. You should also record the participant number, who the researcher was, and if there's any other helpful information. So the idea here is you're going to take that information, specifically those variable names, put it at the top of your Excel spreadsheet, so now you'll know where to record your values for how the participants responded. You should also include that basic kind of information. Now, you will then report the value participants indicated in the corresponding cell. So each participant's value goes along a row. So each row is a participant, and within that row, each value within the column that corresponds to that variable is then how participants respond in that particular item. So let me give you an example of my Excel spreadsheet, and I'll walk you through it here as well. I think this example will help solidify things. So here you can see in my Excel spreadsheet, across this row, the top row, I have all the variable names that I'm going to have for my research study. So I'm going to include a participant number, the researcher, so I know which one of the group members did it, the condition, so you indicate which condition is, and then you'll see that where I had basic needs 1 previously in my document, now I have it here. And in this case, the participant reported that they indicated a 1 on basic needs 1. We go a little way down here, we can see we get down to basic needs 10. We can see that participants, in this case, the participant, first participant here, our example participant, indicated that on basic needs 10, they reported a 4. Now again, you can go a little farther along, you'll see that now we've gotten into the dehumanization scale. So my example participant here indicated that they got a 4 on the first dehumanization question. You'll see that these variables go all the way through to include then also the age and gender of the participant, which is recorded at the end. So this is the way that your Excel spreadsheet is going to look like, and I'll have this posted for you along with the other example of the variable names next to each scale on Carmen, so you can use this as an example to kind of set things up for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to do to get approved for this particular step. So for step 4, to get approval, you're going to send me your study materials with the variable names included. So just like that document that I showed you before, we're going to have the question and then you're going to have the variable name next to it. You're also going to send me your Excel spreadsheet that you prepared for data entry. So you don't have to put in any values of how participants responded, but simply put in the variable names at the top, and I'll make sure everything looks good so that way that you're all set so that your next step can actually be collecting the data. So once we sign off on your methods, so your manipulation, your measures, and how you're collecting the data in terms of how you're putting the variable names in and putting in an Excel spreadsheet, you'll be good to go. And again, with all the stuff we're working on, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves. If there's things going on that you need to make me aware of, things that you need help with, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll help you guys with our next step.